Top 10 dirty tricks that we see in divorce cases. So divorce or leading up to divorce, a marriage that's gone bad, and what are the typical things we see here? What are the tricks? So these top 10 tricks, number one is hiding assets. We just see this is a common one, whether it's the husband or the wife, putting money in someone else's name, it's in my brother's name, it's whatever, taking overly amounts of cash being withdrawn and the cash is going somewhere, or changing bank accounts or setting up a separate bank account. It all is bad news. This is all just trying to hide things from the other spouse. It's not a good plan if you're the one doing the hiding. If you're the one trying to figure it out, there's some counterattacks on this we can do. There's a financial form that gets filled out at the beginning of the divorce case, first of all, that's something that gets signed under oath. So at least you have some protection. If your spouse is doing this, you'd have them under oath signing something claiming that they're not, and you have some recourse there, some sort of remedy. There's other paths too, depending on where they're hiding money, how they're hiding money. There's ways to check into it to some extent. I mean, if somebody's really looking to hide some money, they're probably going to be able to find a way. But you want to watch out for that one. That's a number one on dirty tricks here. Number two with the top 10 dirty tricks is financially related, hiding assets related, and abuse related. It's basically just cutting off the other spouse financially. This goes on a lot where especially now in today's world of tech and online and digital banking and mobile banking and all that, it's very easy to just watch what the other person's doing all the time, and one spouse is just controlling all the finances. The other person can't spend $50 without their spouse knowing. We'll get guys that come into the office, they can't pay $100 fee to us without their wife knowing and wondering what's up. Not to mention, watching their location, knowing where they are and what they're doing, and just this total control thing is really a form of abuse. I think a lot of people don't talk about that, but clearly, it is. It's abusive. So you want to watch out for that one. This controlling, cutting you off. If you're the non-working spouse, you're finding that you just don't have any access to money without being questioned and having trouble about it, and that's not good. It's definitely a dirty trick with divorces, leading into divorces. Number three on this list of dirty tricks, the bad news stuff we see at the beginning stages of a divorce, tail end of a marriage before a divorce is filed, is the GPS tracking, hacking and tracking stuff we call it, where they're following where you are. Maybe at some point it was consensual, like you were sharing iPhone location, but you've shut it off and there's some other way that someone's following you. The modern vehicles, of course, there's an app and it tells you where the vehicle is. Used to be you'd put a tracker on somebody's car. That's all bad news. Usually illegal for the most part, even if you're married, to be tracking someone without their consent, whether it's GPS, phone locator, car locators, whatever it is you're doing. Those little tile things, you put them in somebody's wallet or purse or whatever. That's all wrong. That should not be happening. If it's happening to you, it's not right. The spyware stuff is another good one. Somebody that's it could just be the actual spyware is installed on a computer where there's software that just tracks everything you click on the keyboard, and then you can go back and look at it to figure out passwords and usernames and all kinds of things. Or just getting someone's password, open their phone, finding their text messages, finding their email, or hacking into their email, whatever it might be, all these spyware sorts of things, and getting in on accounts that you don't have permission to be on is bad news. You're not free to just look at someone's account if they happen to leave their phone unlocked or something like that. It doesn't give you permission to do that, and you have to be careful of it. People can get in trouble. So if it's happening to you, you want to be aware of it, watch out for these kind of things. And if you're the one thinking about doing it, you're not going to want to. It's just not worth it. But the GPS and spying, those are another dirty trick that we see. Number four on this list of dirty tricks is the small business owner type of tricks. A business owner that's controlling the finances. They're probably controlling a lot of the household finances as well. They're controlling the money. They're doing what they want with payments out of the small business, maybe paying things, hiring things, paying expenses, lowering what their actual income is so it looks like they don't make any money. There's all sorts of things that go on if you're a small business owner, and it can lead to a lot of trouble. So you want to watch out for that. If you're getting divorced from someone who's a small business owner, self-employed person, you want to just be aware of the warning signs that there's money being hidden, money you're not being told about and don't have access to. and just get a sense of what this person's actual income. Just because they tell the IRS they make $10,000 a year working full time, which of course no one does, that doesn't mean that that's the end of the story. Looking at a tax return is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to business owners, self-employed people. There's lots of other ways to look at what's going on and figure out what kind of money's coming in, like the bills. One example that we use, and one tool we use all the time is a budget. Let's look at the monthly expenses. If you're really not making any money, then how are you paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in bills with really no debt? It tells me that person's making more money than they claim, that they admit, and you want to watch out for that. It's an old trick with small business owners, with self-employed. Not that those people are all up to no good, but you got to watch for it. With divorces, there can be a lack of reporting, under-reporting, under-claiming, not providing proof of income and assets and those sorts of things. You want to watch for that. And number 5 on our list of these dirty tricks that we see in divorces goes hand in hand with the financial stuff. It's overspending. I mean, this can be a big one at the tail end of a marriage before a divorce is filed yet, or even the beginning stages of a divorce. You can have somebody that's just out and overspending. They've cranked up the spending at whatever stores they usually go to, or they've found ways to remove money, get cash back from spending, or they're using Zelle and all these other digital payment methods and hiding money that way, overspending on money with those sorts of things, or buying things that just aren't needed, in the sense of like the old term feathering the nest. They're just replacing products and buying things that they're assuming they're going to take with them after the divorce is final, and they're cranking up the spending, and it's not right. The rule once a divorce case starts is it should be status quo. Whatever was typical household spending before the divorce started is the measure of what's typical now. Now, some people might be overspending just out of habit. If that's so, that needs to get looked at too. But the thing we're really looking at is people that are just, their spouse, their wife, whoever it is, just cranked up the spending with a divorce coming, or once a divorce has already been filed, and it's not right. A lot of times it'll be a one-income household, and you'll get a wife that's just spending twice as much money as they used to spend on, name it, everything, and it's not reasonable. It shouldn't be allowed to continue. Something needs to be dealt about it. But step 1 is just being aware of it and looking for it. Look at what money's being spent. What's your budget? What are you currently looking at here? You want to watch out for all that. And then number 6 in our top dirty tricks here, the top 10 dirty tricks we see in divorce, are these false allegations of violence. This is just dirty pool. It's an old trick. False allegations of anything else, but it could be domestic violence, claiming you hit somebody when you didn't, or claiming you did something that you didn't, saying I'm going to call 911 on you if you do such and such, and I'm going to tell them that you did. That's wrong. First of all, that's a felony to make a false police report. To falsely call 911 for no reason is a felony. So you want to be aware of that. If that's going on where you're at, you need, number 1, you need to leave the house temporarily, and number 2, you need to get that person on a recording saying that that's what they're up to. But you want to watch out for these false allegations of domestic violence, false allegations of misconduct with your children. That's a bad one too. False allegation, claiming you're abusive or neglectful of your kids or some crazy thing like that when you're totally not, is a bad deal, and you want to watch out for that. People can get into that kind of stuff, and it's, they're upset. There's a divorce coming, and they start doing things they wouldn't normally do, things they'll probably regret later, but you're caught up in the middle of it, and it can be ugly business. So you want to watch out for that trick. That's a common, what I would call dirty. Those are definitely dirty tricks when it comes to divorce. Number 7 is a trick. I'm not sure it's really a dirty trick, but it's definitely bad news when it comes to divorces and a divorce about to be started. What we'll find is that these clients, potential client will go around and meet with some divorce lawyers around town, and they're trying to conflict them out. So they'll go and meet with the top 3 lawyers they think their husband might be going to. The wife will go do this, and then she'll prevent the husband from being able to meet with those lawyers or hire them, because they'll say, I'm sorry, we're conflicted out. I can't represent you, because they'd had a meeting with the wife already. So you want to watch for that conflicting out other attorneys. It's kind of an old trick, but it does come up now and then. So you want to be aware of that one too. And these dirty tricks with divorces. But yeah, number 8 with the top 10 dirty tricks in divorces is parental alienation. And I think there's debate about whether that's a thing or whether it really exists. People use the word syndrome. It's not a syndrome, but this idea of keeping you from your kids, preventing you from seeing your kids, really for no good reason other than they're just upset with you. that's bad business. It's a bad deal, and it can cause the divorce case to start off very, very poorly. It's not good. It's a bad start to a divorce. Parental alienation, this thing of keeping you from your kids, of speaking ill of you when you're not around, trying to prevent you from seeing the kids, doing everything to get in the way of how you would see the kids and when you see the kids and what goes on when you have the kids with you. This is all this category of what loosely is referred to as parental alienation, or just keeping you from the kids, eroding your relationship with the kids, undermining your authority as a parent, undermining your ability to get a meaningful schedule and meaningful parenting time with the kids. It goes on a lot. People are mad at each other. They're upset. They're at their worst, and they do things they shouldn't be doing. And that one ties into number 9 in our top 10 dirty tricks, which is denying parenting time. It's related to number 8, but a little different. The denial of parenting time, the schedule. We've agreed on a schedule. We know what we're doing for a schedule with the kids, and the other person just isn't following it. They get in the way of it. They find every way to prevent it, use things, use pretexts, use excuses of why you can't see your kids, and it gets in the way, and it causes a lot of bad blood, a lot of trouble, a lot. It's no good, So you want to watch out for this denial of parenting time. It's a common trick that goes on, especially beginning stages of a divorce, or even if you're not married, or even if the divorce is final and you're going your separate way. Anytime there's two parents that need to see a child and the parents don't get along, or there's been some break off with their relationship, divorce or otherwise, you want to watch out for this one. This denial of parenting time thing is an old trick, and there's definitely ways to combat it with getting a specific schedule, getting the right things in a court order, getting advice from a good family law divorce attorney, custody attorney. They know a lot of things that can be done about preventing this and keeping it from happening, or shutting it down if it is happening. But the denial of parenting time is a tough one. It's not good. And number 10 in these top 10 dirty tricks with divorce cases is moving out of the house for no reason. Getting tricked into moving out of the house. Sometimes people are having trouble in their marriage and it's no good anymore, and they know a divorce is coming, and their wife tells them to move out, and then they do it. And then after they get them moved out, really for no reason, then their wife will file for divorce. She files first. Now she's getting a court order in place that gives her custody, gives him parenting time or not, has him paying child support, and it's off to a bad start. There's nothing but trouble. So you want to watch out for that one too. This thing of tricking you into moving out of your own home for no good reason leads to nothing but trouble. You want to make sure you're on the same page before you agree to move out. Now you can leave for the night or leave for the week. If there's problems, if there's false allegations, if there's fighting and baiting you into fighting and all kinds of that stuff, you need to get out of there. But it doesn't mean you should move out for good with no plan and really no reason. You want to make sure there's a plan, put things in place before you move out. And that's kind of the top 10 here of what we see typically in divorce cases: hiding assets, cutting you off financially, using GPS, spyware, small business owner and self-employed and that category of their tricks, the overspending, feathering the nest type of thing, the false allegations of violence or abuse, or even allegations about how you treat your kids, which is just such bad news when it's false. Conflicting out other attorneys, parental alienation, denial of parenting time, tricking you into moving out of the house for no reason. That's kind of a rundown of those are, just 10. I mean, there's a lot of them, but those are some typical dirty tricks, things that people play, the things the barstool lawyers are telling their friends, or a domestic violence shelter where someone's gone there falsely and really there isn't any problems. It's part of the guidebook. This is what you do to really jam somebody up, and you want to watch out for this kind of stuff.